can get this live.
Sounds like a winner.
There. And let me know if you can see it.
Well, I'm not gonna. Well, I guess. Yeah, I guess I can watch your stream instead of the stream I'm streaming. I'm not sure how that would work out though.
I'm sharing screen right now.
Yeah, let's see what happens there. Yeah, I'm definitely the official stream is behind your stream.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. That's the. I'm on a potato right now.
Oh.
For a computer. Yeah, so this is my computer that could hardly make intro videos,
Mm-hmm.
basic video making. So, but Ducky's in a tough spot, 3rd and 9.
Yeah,
We see him in the shotgun,
it looks like he
and
got ball first too.
yeah, so you're a few seconds ahead, which will be exciting. But I can't do much about that. But in
He throws a terrible
shotgun,
ball, gets intercepted by Speed, the corner former Patriot, and he's down to the 30, the 20, the 10, and a touchdown off of a pick six.
indeed, definitely. So, like we said, Doc is ahead of the game. Everybody, he's not reading the future. He just has a quicker stream. And here's the thing. This is the sort of thing that Ducky has to avoid if he's going to find success. And this is exactly what Spit was hoping to get. The one who plays better defense this game was likely going to win. And certainly that would translate maybe to playing worse offense. Big interception.
Yeah, big interception by Ducky. Something, say what you want about Ducky. He's had a very good season, but I feel like when it comes to playoff time, maybe the nerves get to him just a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's had a really hot finish and no bigger stage than right now. He is a Guardians champion, and I know he's hungry to find some MKL success in this league. Obviously, that's the only place you can have MKL success. But he has to get something going, and certainly wasn't the start he wanted. But it's super early, Doc, and there's a lot that can transpire still.
Yeah, a lot that can transpire, and we see Saquon Barkley break off a huge
Woo!
run here. Yeah, you like those jukes. But Saquon Barkley, a guy that's been passed around the AFC East quite a bit. He was a former Patriot, then a former Bill, and then and now he's on the Dolphins. And maybe he's found his forever home, hopefully, because Ducky seems to really enjoy using him. Um, uh, these two teams have traded quite a few players to each other. So that's probably something that the players are thinking about and want to have a revenge game against their former team.
Yeah, definitely. And here's the thing. These teams have stacked talent over the years. They've made some questionable decisions here and there, but these are two of the teams that have had in their fingertips some of the most talented weapons that the league has to offer. But despite their changes, they're right here battling in a playoff game
And we see
and
a big
maybe
time
coming in
dig.
strong. Yeah,
Yeah,
really nice play for Watson. Is that Christian
it is
Watson?
Christian Watson.
This guy has been passed around like a literal potato, hot potato. He's been on so many teams now, which is shocking because that's a guy I would probably have never let go.
Yeah, and very interesting to trade him in the division too. I typically try to avoid my blue chip players to people within my division because I don't want to go against them. But Spit and the Dolphins seem not to care. Jalen Waddle is currently a Patriot right now. I mean, he is a Buffalo Bill right now, and we're gonna see hopefully a lot of Jalen Waddle. But I'm interested to see Raging. Who did you pick to win this game?
I followed the noise. The noise said Ducky was playing hot. I did pick
Oh,
Ducky. Not starting in the right spot necessarily could have been a pick on the defensive line there. Definitely in a tight spot again. I mean, 3 points is not the end of the world, but 0 points here or another pick six may be the end of the
yeah,
world.
you absolutely cannot come away with nothing here, especially with how high powered Spit's offense is with Jalen Waddle and DK Metcalf, and then I think he has another 96 speed guy, and we do see Marquise Brown pick up the first down. Nice little toe tap by him. But yeah,
Wow.
if you don't come away with anything on this possession, and now he's in a really tough spot to score, it, playing from behind against this Buffalo Bills team is really hard. And not only that, they have a very good running back with 99 speed who's probably going to go up to X Factor this year, just based off of awards and maybe talent, or maybe just superstar. But the Bills run the ball a lot and pass to the running back a lot. I think the running back probably had over 1,800 total yards this year.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. If that's the case, I mean, the whole offensive scheme for both teams is loaded. And right now, we're going to see if Saquon Barkley can maybe be a rushing answer. He's already 6 for 37, and the Bills. So you have probably a bit more knowledge of this Bills team. We haven't even seen them on offense yet, Doc. And the first quarter's nearly gone because of that pick six.
Yeah, and we're gonna see another pick six here to Daxton Hill, the former Dolphin, I believe. Oh my God! To the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, touchdown. Oh my goodness! If you are Ducky,
Yeah.
you have to be completely out of your mind. Your boots have to be shivering right now because you cannot be doing that. And with so as much credit as I give to Spit for his offense, he's prone to making mistakes with his QB Richardson. And wow, to get gifted essentially 14 points, excellent user by Spit there, but wow, that really changed the game. And that is the one thing we said Ducky cannot do. As someone who started off 0-6 to making the playoffs as the 7 seed, he was probably the hottest team coming in to the playoffs this year. And to see him fizzle out like this in the first quarter is not what you want to see as a Miami fan.
Yeah, I mean, Ducky finished really strong. I don't know what they did against each other, but it almost seems like their familiarity, being in the same division, may be giving Spit a little bit of an upper hand facing the Dolphins, maybe knowing what he was quickly wanting to read there. Perfect lurk, and certainly two pick sixes to start a playoff game. Spit's in this position you want to be in. Game's far from over, but Ducky has to be careful not to let this one get away.
Yeah, I do like the play call that he's currently coming out in, but someone I'd like to see featured is his X Factor Kincaid, who was a former Bill. I feel like these guys just swapped all 53 players on their teams.
Wow, I really like these weapons that each team has. Watson, obviously, the former Bill, which is kind of humorous because he's making a lot of plays here early. Hasn't resulted in points just yet, but the speedsters on both teams really interesting to see how they're going to use these weapons. And I lament, Doc, we still haven't seen Spit have to play offense yet.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. I am very interested in wondering why he is using his outside corner, as we see Bradley McDougald, the 6'6 monster, almost get into the end zone, get short
Wow,
stopped at the 1 yard line. And if you're
dude.
Spit, I think the hardest coverage to play is cover two. Someone's gonna attack you over the middle deep or on the sidelines deep, and I don't like that call there. I'd like to see a little bit more cover three, cover four, especially while you have the lead. You can afford to give up some of the shorter routes combinations that people have, but allowing someone to get basically a one play touchdown is going to bring Ducky right back into this.
Yeah, I mean, that was a absolute dot. He went out and got McDougal, and he has developed him into an absolute monster. Doesn't matter that he's not 99 speed. He goes up and gets it, breaks a few tackles, and likely should have scored if these pixelated players weren't so darn atrociously stupid on the inches marker so consistently. But here's what I love. Ducky's found his footing, and we finally get to see Spit on offense because as good as defense can be in this game, even people with the best defenses have to move the ball at some point to get wins in
Yeah,
this league,
and
especially in the playoffs.
something I'd like to mention too, Spit probably has the most kick return touchdowns accumulative all year, or all cycle. So that is something that could occur this game. It wouldn't surprise me with Jalen Waddle back there. And we're probably going to see a run this first play. We are. And there's the 99 speed running back Allen break off for a 10-yard juke up the field up to the 32-yard lines. One rush, 14 yards. That's going to be very hard to stop. And with Ducky, he hates runners. He is the type of person to get emotional when someone's running the ball down their throat, start slandering people's names, and start cussing them out.
It
And
certainly sounds like a reason to run the ball if your opponent can't
and
keep his
I,
cool.
I did talk to Spit earlier. I said one of the things you need to do is run the ball versus your opponent, and I hope he keeps up with that. But to get in someone's head like that early on in the game is something that I think you should do if you know that your opponent does not like a certain thing to defend against.
Yeah, I mean, generally people will telegraph what they wish you weren't doing. They'll diss it. They'll say it sucks. They'll say it's lame or cheese or whatever. Generally, they're trying to shame you out of doing the thing that they're having so much trouble stopping. Uh, and you know, in a league where there's so many rules, if you're following the rules and you're finding ways to beat somebody, it probably makes sense to keep doing the thing they're having trouble stopping.
Yeah, and we continue here out of this tight formation by Spit. I don't think we're going to see another run. We're probably gonna see a motion by Jalen Waddle, and I do know what play this is. I do not like it at all against this defense that we're seeing. But an absolute pass lead elite to the tight end Shelley, who he acquired from the Titans, giving up Jamin Davis, probably one of the best users in the league, to acquire superstar tight end. And wow, I will say, since Spit has gotten pass lead elite, that has transcended his quarterback play. He complained about his quarterback, Dylan Richardson, who he traded Josh Allen to basically acquire, and ever since acquiring that ability, that has transformed his offense. He's made less terrible and egregious throws, and man, if you have pass lead or set feet, that just changes your game. And we're going to see another run here by Allen up to the 15-yard line for a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, definitely protecting the ball. Something Ducky, unfortunately for Ducky, has failed to do much of this game with the two pick sixes. And if the Bills, the worst possible thing the Bills could do right now is give him a pick six right back. So him keeping the ball on the ground, which is obviously working, really good idea. And probably if Ducky adjusts, maybe it'll open up a pass for him as well.
And I'm calling my shot. We're going to see a touchdown to the tight end here. He's not going to throw it good on him. The tight end probably could have gotten open, but one of the things that we make fun of Spit for is his QB stat lines that he often has. A lot of the time, Spit is the type of person to go maybe 4 for 23 with 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and like 5 interceptions, but he still manages to win games with those stat lines. If we could get a Spit stat line to solidify himself, that would be very funny, and I would enjoy that.
I definitely think that Richardson is primed to have a massive game, but this is literally his first offensive drive. So
Mm-hmm.
we have very little room to say that Richardson has done anything to this point, but he has protected the ball to the 11-yard line, and that is a beneficial thing to the Bills' outlook. Both of these teams played each other a lot, and they played you a lot, so you have a lot of familiarity. My question is, which
And we
team
see
did
a
you vote for?
I voted for the Bills. I'm personally, I know Spit in real life. We know each other since 2018. We've been friends and roommates. A lot of his game has come from me, but he has molded himself into his own Madden player. And this year is the best I've ever seen Spit play. And I'm hoping he gets his first MKL playoff win today. And we see a huge run. And I don't know if you noticed, but DK Metcalf made a huge block on that rushing touchdown for Cedric Allen to get in there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the receivers getting involved in the run game, and I bet you DK Metcalf has some pretty nice blocking stats just based on his physique alone. I imagine Madden gave him some props to be able to hold impact blocks maybe a little bit better than others. Really pays off there, and it was a really nice run. I like seeing that he was patient and didn't force anything, and obviously Ducky needs to follow suit if he's going to keep up in this game.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And we are going to see Marquise Brown on a corner route. I don't know how far you're delayed, but we're seeing a little bit up tempo from the Dolphins. I agree with that. But a thing with people going up tempo is sometimes they don't call the best plays and just panic, call a play, and throw whatever they see. And I think panicking here is something you can't do. And there's still 2 quarters to play. He is going to throw a terrible read. And if Spitz uses better, it's probably an interception there. But um, another talking point I'd like to talk about is the AFC East as a total. In my opinion, we're probably the hardest division to go against, just from top to bottom. Every year, 2 people from our division are coming out, and this year 3 people came out. And if Bird has a little bit of other things go his way, we would have had all 4 teams in from the AFC East in this playoffs.
Definitely a great accomplishment. I know earlier in the cycle, we've seen multiple teams. AFC North, I think, did it. I think the NFC South did it early. Like, there's a lot of teams that have, but you guys have stuck around, build up your teams, and all of you 3 guys being in the playoffs this year, definitely a testament to how tough your division is. But I'm definitely delayed. You see things maybe about 4 or 5 seconds before I do.
Okay.
It may be a little confusing, but it's not terrible. But we're seeing Barkley up the middle, now a little bit more back to the run. And that's one thing I'd just like to say. I mean, Barkley was juking and weaving, and then he'd get down to the red zone, and he went away from Barkley. And maybe it was a 3rd down spot, but I mean, in a 3rd down, what if he had 13 right now instead of 7? It's a totally different ball game.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
actually get your 3.
And I think what's important here is, keep handing the ball to Barkley, but also try and take the rest of this clock off, because Spit gets the ball at half. If he's able to double dip the chip before half and after half, that might be the end of the game and end of Ducky's season as we know it.
Definitely, it would be bad for Ducky to have another Bills score occur. But at this point, he has a wide open McDougald there on the right, and honestly, this makes me happy. I mean, this is a guy that bought a scouting visit. I don't love scouting visits, but they do exist, and he bought it. He fell in love with this guy, and this guy is carrying him right now. And so is Tua. Tua is finding him, so let's give some credit where it's due to find McDougald. But down the seam, down the sideline, McDougald has been a force, and the Bills are one bad mistake away from maybe swinging the momentum. But he has 2 minutes, 2 timeouts, all the speed in the world, including this guy, Waddle. You said he's quite the kick returner. Doesn't get it done there. But this Bills team and this Dolphins team, they're familiar with each other, and certainly the Dolphins aren't out of it yet, but the Bills have to like where they're at.
Yeah, and so there were rumors in Miami about getting a deal done to send Tua Tagovailoa out, and with those rumors kind of settling down, I wonder if those trade negotiations ramp up if Tua's unable to win a playoff game or take the Dolphins deep. What is your opinion on that? Do you think the Dolphins should stick with Tua?
At this point, if Tua hasn't been able to get it done for 6 seasons at the helm of this perennially, every year, very talented Dolphins offense, it may be time to move on. But I will say that Tua right now is playing at a level that a new quarterback he might acquire might not be able to reach. So it might not be wise to move off. It might just be more wise to shift your offensive focus, maybe rein in what you think your quarterback ought to be able to do and actually do what your quarterback can do. Sometimes that works. We saw Peyton Manning that couldn't turn his head left to right win a Super Bowl with the Broncos because he stayed inside of doing what he could do and played to the team's talents. So sometimes it's about just figuring out what you can do as a player.
And we're going to see Cedric Allen break a huge run to get a first down. Wow. It looked like nothing was there, and able to get the first down. And
the inside zone is killing Ducky right now, and especially the jukes are killing each other. And right there, I mean, they're lucky that there was a tackler there after the initial tackle.
Yeah, and one of the quotes that, as a Lions fan, people talk about Jared Goff all the time. Someone said it's a lot easier to get worse at QB than it is to get better. And I think it would be a really bad move for the Dolphins to get rid of Tua.
Yeah, I hardly think it would be wise. But I can appreciate that when a player is not getting you over the hump, maybe changes can be made. And at quarterback, we just recently saw a pretty decent quarterback in the NFL move with Kirk Cousins. Sometimes players, they're getting older, and teams say, you know what, let's restart this thing and see if maybe instead of having a Tua or a Kirk Cousins, maybe we can get ourselves a Corey Jackson, or let's Desmond Ritter, maybe a Patrick Mahomes type, one of those guys. If you can go get one of those guys, that's maybe what you're looking to do. But Tua's right here. Tua's still trying to prove his worth, and in a 3rd and 6, it's possible that Tua's going to get the ball back.
Yeah, and on that second down play, we just see Anthony Richardson roll too far back. He had DK Metcalf open very early, doesn't see him, drifts too far back, and then just sails a ball overhead for probably and oh my god, into double coverage. I don't like that read at all, but if someone were to come down with that, it's probably DK Metcalf. But on 3rd and 6, and not in scoring range, I don't agree with the situation to throw it into double coverage. If you're on his own side, I kind of like that read a little bit more. If you can click on, and it's either your ball or it's no one's ball. But right there, and now you're giving the ball back at the 30 with a very prominent chance to score for Ducky. I don't like the play call.
Yeah. I mean, just look at this game, Doc. I mean, the 2 pick sixes loom large, but Ducky might be able to make it a 0-0 ball game to enter into the half. He can do it, but will he do it? Not sure. Maybe he's looking at Saquon here. Brown certainly on that outside route might beat his man. I don't know what we're looking for, but maybe the easy answer is McDougal.
Oh! He was throwing an interception across the middle.
Sometimes getting hit saves you from throwing an interception. We've seen that a lot in the MKL.
Yeah, and that brings up the question, maybe
this is crazy. How many halfback scissors routes does he have?
I imagine 3 or 4, but I don't think, this was the game plan that Ducky came out thinking about. And we could have seen another interception there by Will Chapman.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think you got to make a quicker read here. He's reading way down the field and kind of ignoring some open, quicker routes that might have him down to the 40 by now.
Yeah, and being down, some people fold when being down and unable to process reads really good. And he is going to go deep, and we could have seen the former Dolphin, Christian Harris, walk that in for 6, but he just doesn't get there enough. And, man, you have a whole minute with 2 timeouts and you go deep every single play. I don't necessarily agree with the play call in there. You can dink and dunk your way. And we almost see a blocked kick. Thankfully,
it was offside, though.
Thankfully for Spit, it's still 4th and 5 and he can't go for it. But if that was like on the 40-yard line and you give Ducky the chance to go for it, that would have been an absolute backbreaker.
Yeah, definitely disaster. I mean, the blocked punts, there's a lot of noise that people are getting a lot more excited about the possibility of some special teams and not necessarily returns, but blocks and such. And it almost maybe paid off there, if not for the obviously offsides that would have nullified it anyways. But now, once again, Ducky, maybe Spit is content to play pretty conservative here, take his 7-point lead and get the ball at half. But what he doesn't want to do here is make a mistake.
Yeah, and something I think he is doing a mistake out of is calling play action with 37 seconds left. He has his running back wide open, and oh my goodness, we could have seen so many D-line interceptions this game. But
there's been a lot of opportunities for D-line interceptions, and you gotta love it. A lot of swatted down passes. And a lot of dropping back far and kind of hoping you get an extra millisecond to get off a deep shot by both these teams that want to air it out. You admire it, but maybe their pass rush is just slightly too good to consistently have that amount of time on these play action deep shots.
Yeah, and I prefer going to gun in these situations. It looked like Ducky pass committed. A lot of his guys got pancaked there.
But didn't seem to matter, obviously. You got another timeout, but sometimes it can be disastrous to pass commit. Big risk that you take there at times. I know I gave up a long run pass committing against the Vikings some time ago, and it can be disastrous. That time it's not. But certainly Spit is hoping for a first down here. He doesn't necessarily want to punt it back to Ducky in this
I think 3 points are still on the horizon here, but he's rolling too far back with his QB, and you're just not
Oh,
gonna get accurate.
yikes.
You're just not gonna get accurate throws.
Yeah, that was kind of terrifying, to be honest. EA could have definitely decided that was a pick.
Hmm.
But I'm glad for Spit's sake that it was not. But Ducky still gets time maybe to get down and get a field goal, make this game a little closer. I doubt he gets a touchdown, but who knows? McDougal is pretty jukey with it, and he is going to return, do a couple jukes. Maybe wasted a little more time than you'd want there for a measly 8 yards after the return.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think fair catching in that situation is probably ideal for you because that's an entire play that you have essentially, and you only gained 8 yards on that one. The risk to reward ratio definitely wasn't on the side of returning
yeah,
that, but with someone like McDougald who has like 99 change of direction and 99 juke, anything is possible. But I just think you got to know when to call your shot, and right
yeah,
there it was not. And we are going to see a Dalton Kincaid wide open in the middle of the end field, and Ducky is
he
going to
is
score
gonna
right
go.
before half. Wow. Absolute busted coverage by Spit. I'm so interested to see what this defense was.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely ill advised to simply not go to a pretty safe deep defense. And he splits a cover four, but it doesn't look like it ended up being a cover four. Maybe a lot of adjustments were made because
Um,
I only saw two people deep.
yeah, so I assumed it was match coverage, and Spit was on the guy who was supposed to take the tight end in that. And so one of the things I see
That
people
backfires
do,
often.
yeah, I see people run match coverage, but they don't know the match coverage principles. So you're gonna have busted coverage if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and that certainly was busted coverage, but it definitely makes the game a little bit more exciting. Could we see the kick return magic here? We will not. And here's a storyline as well. This is Waddle. This is Jalen Waddle, the guy that Ducky cast away, one of like the coolest players to have on your roster in Madden to start. And
Hmm.
now he finds himself in the rival Bills. I don't know if he's been passed around any more than that, maybe just straight from Dolphins to Bills. But definitely an interesting storyline that could come about. We could see Waddle make a big play at some point, but I love this, Doc. 21-21, despite two pick sixes, Ducky has clawed his way back, and it's essentially 0-0. But Spit does get the ball.
Yeah, Spit does get the ball. This team's kind of been really reeling a little bit, and their biggest plays have come off defense, and I'm not sure that is a sustainable thing to have in Madden 24. You need some type of competent offense to get you down the field, and hopefully, Madden's a game of adjustments. If he can find a way to adjust his offense in this second half to take advantage of whatever Dougie's doing, and we could have seen a kick return touchdown. He gets bumped by his own guy, which stops his momentum. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. It's scary kicking off to that guy. We realize, but it hasn't bit Ducky yet. And now we see Spit on offense again. It's been a bit rarer to see Spit on offense due to those two pick sixes. But he's gonna have to find some offense here after kind of floundering a little bit, giving Ducky the ball back and allowing Ducky to throw that deep dot, but now a deep dot of his own to this guy with a terrible last name of Smelly.
Yeah. um, yeah. I think that's the first big play we've seen on offense from Spitz. Um, in the passing game so far, everything's just been on the run. Spit loves this wide. Being able to spread out the defense and kind of make quick reads and kind of adjust your routes based on what the defense is giving you kind of simplifies your route combination and offense. And we're gonna see an absolute terrible ball be thrown. You know,
Yeah, that deserved to be picked the whole way. Once it left his hand, he was kind of getting hit, but it was well covered. I don't know where it could have gotten placed.
yeah. He's rolling too far back for these passes to be effective.
He
And
is. He could have gotten the edge. He doesn't quite widen his lane enough. Barkley, I think, could have been gone there, but he kind of doesn't respect the chase to the edge there and only gets a 4 yard gain. Fortunate for Spit, but Spit, Ducky has taken back all the momentum after two early mistakes. And certainly, Spit pretty well. I think we all know Ducky pretty well as well. I mean, these guys have been in the MPL a while. They are hungry for this win, and they're feeling the nerves right now. These guys have gotten hit and had defensive line pick six opportunities more than any game I've casted all year. They are getting hit. The ball is just floating up there waiting. It'll be interesting to see if we do see a defensive line pick six in this game, or at least a pick.
Yeah, and this is a terrible play call on 3rd and 6. Having everyone go on a streak, you only need 6 yards. Why are you sending everyone deep? I
I'm,
don't.
I'm, I'm looking at Kincaid here. Maybe the best shot is like an inside to Kincaid. Looks like Spit is going to get in there. Maybe saw what I was seeing, but now he maybe could go
Yeah,
up. Oh, does get hit again. Once again, another one that could be a defensive line pick six. It's just a war of attrition, man. We're waiting to see who is going to manage to score another point at this point. These offenses are not getting the ball off. They're wanting to bomb each other deep. It's fun to watch. I'm glad it's close, but I'm not sure who's going to come away with the win right now.
yeah. This seems like next score probably wins the game just off how the defense has been playing. The edge rushers have been getting insane amounts of pressure, and I I just don't understand. I don't think I know where this game is going to go. And we're going to see probably a 90-yard touchdown to Cedric Allen. Never mind, he gets tracked from behind. 9 rushes, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown. You know, if I'm Spit, I'm chopping off my QB's arm. All you're going to do is hand off the ball to Cedric Allen and let him do his thing. Because right now, you are hurting yourself by throwing the ball. Please continue to run. Ducky can't stop it. He's in terrible run defense again. And it wouldn't surprise me if we see an inside zone. This is absolutely crazy that this run game has been so effective, and yet we see so little rushes in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty typical. I mean, it's exciting to air it out, but if the defense is going to give you the run, you really should take it. But he is going to find Shelley. My bad. I called him Smelly earlier.
He
I
probably
thought
does
that
smell
was
this game.
on his. But man, 4 completions for Spit in this game. So I know he hasn't had as many opportunities as Ducky, but we haven't seen Dylan Richardson hook up with his receivers all that much. And maybe that's for the best, as you say, because Mr. Allen is rushing him into the 6-yard mark. And right now, in his mind, probably looms large. Don't throw a pick six, at least get points because we're tied right now.
Yeah, I like to see another run here. It's first and goal. No reason to press the issue passing the ball. You do have DK who has red zone threat, but oh my, terrible read.
Kind of scary, yeah.
He keeps rolling so far back that he is not giving his quarterback, the ability to make the throws. I think Richardson has like 99 throw power and he has pretty good accuracy stats, but if you're throwing on the run from behind, trying to make crossbody throws, those aren't going to happen, and we're going to see a huge run by Allen to get to the 2-yard line. If you're Spit, are you satisfied with taking 3 here? Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm only not satisfied with not taking the lead at this spot. So whether 3 or 7, I want to come out of this drive with the lead. But I do know that if he does give the ball back and it's on the 2 or the 1, that's a tough spot to be in. If he doesn't click the stick, he's.
Oh my God! Wow.
That's
stopped at the 1-inch yard line.
That's just insane. I don't know how a quarterback doesn't just go for it there. He doesn't reach the ball. He kind of like flounders in.
His entire body went across.
Yeah, his feet looked like they're in, but I guess it's the ball maybe. Right now he's going for it. I bet we're going to see QB sneak, and he does get in. Really fortunate for him that the QB said, "Hey, give me the ball. I'll get in this time." And sure enough, he does. Yeah, and now all the pressure on Ducky again.
Yeah, all the pressure's on Ducky. Dylan Richardson, 6'6", pretty hard not to gain an inch there, especially with the offensive line winner, Osiris Torrance playing center for him. It's hard not to get an inch with someone of that caliber, and someone who's as tall as Richardson. Maybe if that's a Bryce Young who's only 5'10", you're not picking that up, because that was pretty good QB sneak defense by Ducky, but sometimes your guy's just too tall and he's going to get it regardless.
I mean, sometimes it's just a one-on-one matchup, quarterback to linebacker, and despite what people may believe, quarterbacks can win that matchup. Pretty nice return. Maybe it almost looked like Ducky could have been the first one to get a kick return in this game that was more significant. But he's in a hole. He's going to have to find offense. Both teams have done stuff to completely shoot themselves in the foot. pretty common. We all do stuff like that during the course of a game. But at this point, Ducky's got to get points on the board. Like I told you before, you just need points at this point. You haven't had any in this half. I would, the way these defenses have played, at least getting some points is ideal. I know some people may just say like, "Wow, getting 3, that's a losing decision." I would disagree.
Yeah, I think 3 entirely depends on how the game's going. You have to play the flow of the game, much like Dan Campbell agrees and says. But, in this game where it's so tight, I think I would have been satisfied with 3 there. But on the flip side, you're on the 1-inch line. You got to expect that your playmakers can make plays. And I agree with the call on that. So we are seeing Ducky come to start a nice little drive. I think he has jukebox on maybe 3 or 4 of his guys, so the rack yards are there for the taking.
I mean, the usage of red zone scissors, I can't knock it. He's able to make reads on the play. He's been going to it all game. It seems like he's just finding every possible red zone scissors in a playbook, and he calls it every drive. And so far, 21 points. Maybe he can get 28.
And story of this drive is Saquon Barkley's is just wide open and no one is to be found. He's on an island on his own out of the backfield, and something I'm interested to see Barkley use is his ability to leapfrog. Him and CMC are the only people, and Najee Harris are the only people to get it in franchise, and he's the only one who has it currently on. And we're going to see a nice drag to Christian Watson here. Only picks up 3, but that's an okay throw to make.
All progress is progress as long as you get at least 10 yards. And we're in 4 downs, and we're looking at probably 4 down territory for the Duckster as he's entering into the red zone. I think he can manage to pick up enough yards here. I would be shocked if he doesn't go for a field goal. I would probably go for a field goal if I don't get significant yards here, or a first down. Obviously, I wouldn't go for a field goal. But I think that I'm pretty alone on an island of taking your points and, deciding that maybe you hopefully can, get the ball back or whatever on defense.
Did the Bills take a timeout?
It looks like they're missing one, so that's definitely possible. They might not have liked what they saw there. I don't like that Ducky doesn't have a running back out of the outfield right here in this spot, but it's going to work out for him. And there's that man, Christian Watson, the player that was formerly on the Bills, cast aside. Spit essentially said, "This is the odd man out. I'm keeping these other guys." And at this point, not hurting him too bad, 28-21. But Ducky knocking on the door, 4th quarter. I mean, honestly, Doc, this game's a lot more fun if Ducky manages to score some points here.
I agree, and this is the hardest spot to score on the field, but Spit's defense seems to be leaving one individual wide open every single play. So we'll see if that becomes a factor. We see Tua's X factor almost lit up there. I
like the motion. He got another blocker over there. No,
but it just doesn't matter.
Oh,
wow.
That did not. Blown up by number 17, a terrible defensive number. Pretty normal for the NFL now, and especially in the MKL. We see a lot of interesting numbers. But number 17 makes a big play there. And Duck
Flowers.
Yeah, as the time ticks down, I think a field goal becomes less and less likely. But we got to see points, not picks. Yeah, another pick would be disastrous for Ducky, who's given up 14 points on defensive. Oh wow, what a read! Really nice, kind of fight back to the ball, coming across the defender, brings it into the 1. And could we see another QB sneak score? Nope.
We could. I like the play call here. You just can't throw the RPO if it's not there. And wow, what a Spitz defense has been so good against the run today.
This is the sack leader in the NFL. The sack leader in the NFL, Mr. Terry, comes up massive, and that's what you like from defensive players. That's why you go and get special defensive players, so they show up in those big moments.
Yeah, and we're probably going to see a Saquon Barkley touchdown right here.
You think so?
There's no one there to cover that.
Watson coming on the drag.
And Tua misses the throw.
Watson was open and Barkley was open, but he missed the throw to Barkley.
And we
Um,
were talking about getting rid of Tua earlier, but oh my goodness, you cannot
yeah,
have that. No pressure, just sails it.
yeah, that's one of the toughest throws for these EA quarterbacks to make is right on the cut of a wheel route. Oftentimes you will get that incompletion there and it in a horrible spot for Ducky because he made a good read. But that is something that can happen if you don't realize that, realize it. Throwing on the wheel kind of right on the brake sometimes will do that. But he's not out of it, but that is a big bummer. Like I said,
Yes, I ordered
even
it.
24-28 would feel a lot better right
No,
now.
like 10 minutes ago.
So we have the Bills on their own 6, and now the clock is their friend. And Ducky was in a very, very difficult spot. Um, I imagine he's going to be pretty conservative, but man, I think that it is sort of in Spit's DNA to essentially decide, you know what? He thinks I'm not going to air it out on this crash down defense. Um, think again, but no, it's going to be a long third down. I think he had a chance there. Ducky got pretty aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He put the whole defense, and Spit is against his own end zone. Maybe not the worst thing to be pretty
He
conservative
could
here,
have
but
got an
Waddle,
offsides call there. You can't take a
wow,
safety. Oh, I was about to talk about that. That's one thing you absolutely cannot do is take a safety. Now the game is in Ducky's control. He can kill the clock here and end the game. That is absolutely abysmal. Why are you calling a play action call on your own 4-yard line? That takes so much time. Everyone in the world knows you're not going to run the ball there because you're going to try and pick up the first. That's just poor,
you know,
play
I'll
calling.
say I'll say that you can run the ball there, but play actioning the ball less good. People are scared of your pass there. They're probably a little bit less intimidated from an actual run. So a play action, I don't think did a lot there. Unfortunately for Spit, it did exactly as you said, put Ducky in a position to essentially put this game away. He has the clock in his favor. He has the all-important football in his offense's hands. And, Ducky has to maybe exercise some demons here, so to speak. You see that I use demons in the negative
Mm-hmm.
sense. But you're going to see that Barkley is trying to fight that edge. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Really, really good adjustment for Ducky that time, fighting to get the edge. And it ends up being a much better run than his previous attempt where he cut it upfield maybe a little too early. So now he's in 3rd and 2. Likely we're not going to see the ball back in Spit's hands unless it's game over. The juke is ineffective there. If it was effective, that might be a touchdown. But I'm not sure Ducky's really clamoring for a touchdown right away here. That's kind of a scary spot to be in. He probably wants as little time on the clock as possible. But I think any touchdown here would make Ducky feel a lot better,
Yeah,
even if a lot of time.
anytime you have the lead in a playoff game, you feel good. But I would highly advise against scoring too quick because, in my personal opinion, I want the ball in my QB's hands. I want him to have the last couple snaps to close out a game because I trust my QB to make a play more than I trust my defense. And we're going to see a huge throw to Kincaid. That's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. And if you're Spit, you're definitely missing that time out there. That when I played my game, I took 2 delay of games really in a crucial situation, and I didn't call my timeouts because I know how valuable these fourth quarter timeouts are, and missing one is so crucial to being able to stop the milking that is going to be happening here.
Yeah, that definitely worked out for you. In this game of milking where we're all just
Cows.
milking away.
We're all
You know,
just cows.
uh, in the end, I don't honestly love the aggressive streaks here. X was so open; he kind of waited a little long, and the knockout. Wow, I'm not sure if he has a knockout ability,
He
but he
does,
was open
yes.
really early, and unfortunately for him, he waits just a hair too long. Something I've admired here lately, a lot of passers getting down after the catch to avoid these dreaded knockouts. And unfortunate for him, maybe fortunate for
And
time's
we're going to
sake,
see a
because
wide
that would
open
have
Saquon
been
Barkley here. It's not going to get covered.
so you're believing Barkley's going to be open. If he throws it too
Absolutely.
on the though, it could just be another incompletion.
Everything's
Ducky
bagged. He does take the
reeling.
drag to Christian Watson. Christian Watson
At,
does stay in bounds. And we see a huge third down. And if Ducky is going to run the ball here, I would love to see him go with the power option. I don't want to see. I don't think his offensive line is good enough to have these guards and centers pull for you.
yeah, I'll say that was the open read in my opinion. I mean, Barkley could have been a touchdown with a better throw last time, but that same drag was open, I think, on the touchdown play. And he goes to it this time. The triangle is open. If he doesn't get knocked out, he does hold on. You know, sometimes these receivers hold on, sometimes they don't. I said it earlier in the cast with you guys maybe calling the game, or actually stinky and steady, but it's sometimes drops happen. But that time it didn't, and that was a great play for Ducky. And right now we got a really exciting game. We know what a touchdown does in this game, and we know what not getting a touchdown does. And look at all the streaks on the field. We got one play not going upfield, and that is going to be the read. He is open. Oh, what a juke.
Yeah,
What a juke.
it's at the 10-yard line. If you're spit, you got to consider using your timeouts here. I
Yeah.
imagine we see two runs, one to get Spit's timeout and another to milk the rest of the clock. And then on third and fourth down is where we're going to see the passes. But
You know, at this point, I don't actually mind. You're down by 5. That means we're probably going to see it go for 2, because when you go up by 2, you probably want to try to be up by 3.
And wow,
So
Spit's defense absolutely did that. Got a TFL with a 3-yard loss here. I'm not calling my timeouts. I'm letting my defense stick on the field. Scoring from the 13-yard line. Ducky's taking way too much time here on the clock.
well, Ducky has all 3 timeouts. I think he knows he has multiple throws here.
He
I mean,
almost throws a pick six. Oh my
wow.
goodness.
X was open early, then it closed real quick. And Ducky right now is reeling a little bit. He has 19 seconds. He has to get the ball in the end zone. 13 yards away. We saw in your game versus Sniper, he was certainly further than he wanted in a similar situation. And it's just really tough when you know where you got to go. But so does the defense. He needs yards here, in my opinion. A touchdown is great, but at least some yards. You don't want to have
an interception to Daxton Hill, doesn't see the user. That is game over probably. He does have 3 timeouts, but I imagine this game is over. Wow.
Yeah, that another interception. That's the story of the game. More mistakes for Ducky in the red zone. And certainly we've seen a game where without those interceptions, you're looking at 9 points, which is exactly what Ducky would have loved to have, 29-28. It would have been a game-winning field goal territory. Instead, certainly the 2 pick sixes, you're hurting too bad with that many mistakes in the red zone. After a phenomenal season to make the playoffs, fight back from a difficult record, Ducky seemingly back against the wall. This is probably too much to overcome unless some miracle fumble happens for Ducky.
With Spit, you just kneel it out here and hope you take the second. And then if not, you come out in Hail Mary, you roll out, you throw it away.
I mean, there's 1 second left. If a kneel can't take a second, I don't know anything. I'll forget everything I thought, like a movie trailer. Forget everything you thought you knew. Like, if a kneel can't take a second off the clock, I'd be shocked. I think this one is Jover, as the men say in the NKL, but a really interesting game, a really exciting game. And, sometimes we clamor for the late second score to win the game. But, hey, how about the late second defensive play to win the game? Daxton Hill, maybe the player of the game. I'm not sure how many of those pick sixes he had.
If Spit's user isn't there, who was that to? Was that to Kincaid?
It was coming across. It was not the right read. The play before, I think X was open. He waited a little bit too long, maybe reading the opposite side of the field or something. And unfortunately for Ducky, this is where his season ends. But you have to love the fight that he had, because he was able to fight back in a pretty difficult position. He had very few wins on the season, managed to make the playoffs. But let's look at Spit here. I think you mentioned earlier in the cast, this might be his first playoff win in the MKL.
This is his first playoff win. Congratulations to him. He has made the playoffs maybe 3 or 4 times, but just hasn't been able to get over the wild card. But his we saw a Cinderella story last year with the Steelers. We might be able to see something again with the Bills, and with a matchup, I think that's more favorable for the Bills, where they get to go against either the Ravens or the Titans heading up. I think that's a very winnable game.
Yeah, honestly,
Can
I'm
you guys hear me?
impressed
Can you guys
by
hear
the
me?
performance. We actually have Spit in the booth with us. Spit, tell us your thoughts on that game.
Oh man, I was sweating.
Well, it seems like
Um,
Spit is not going to talk in the booth with us, but he maybe wanted to pop in and see what was going
can
on,
you guys hear me?
what
Testing,
might be
testing.
being talked about.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear him.
I can.
That's weird.
Hmm.
I
Hold up,
can,
let me.
it says he's muted. Have I muted him?
You
I'm gonna
may have muted him.
That's all right. Spit, there you are. How
Hello,
you
hello.
doing?
Yeah, the disrespect. You muted me.
It was a long time. So tell us your thoughts on the game.
Man, let me tell you, I went into it very optimistic. I wasn't crazy confident, but I was excited. Yeah, the first quarter, defensive wise, I think it was great. Let out a couple plays, but then, um, yeah, those two pick sixes really gave me the confidence boost. I then crumbled a little bit offensively. A lot of bad throws by Richardson.
Yeah, part of trying to build defenses is to see them come up big, and there was a moment on the defensive line when your back was against the wall, and your quarterback, I mean your star defensive player who's leading the league in sacks this year, comes back and makes a tackle for a loss. I mean, your defenders showed up big time, but I think Daxton Hill might be your defensive game. Certainly the game ceiling pick. How proud of you from this of this defense that really came to play. To be perfectly honest, your defense was a massive factor in this win.
Oh, I am very pleased with my defense. I think they're the reason why I got the win. If it wasn't for them and Cedric Allen, my halfback, I think we would have been cooked.
Honestly, your
passing was not good.
Your defense put you in a tough spot because your offense didn't get to see the field for like an entire quarter, and that must have been a hard adjustment for you when you come up maybe amped up to play some offense to show your stuff, and you weren't really able to jump in and show your offense and maybe get into a rhythm quite as easily. You had your mistakes. Ducky had his mistakes. The game was very back and forth, but with your back against the wall, in a really difficult spot after that, really regretful or whatever safety that you took. That was a tough spot. You managed to step up. Big win. You're moving on. Congratulations on your first playoff win, man.
Thank you. This is very I'm in a very happy state of mind right now.
Yeah. So final question for you is there was a big play that occurred late in the game that we both did not agree with. It's third down, like 3rd and 6, ball on the 2 or 4 yard line, and you come out and play action. Why play action?
Are you talking about the safety play?
Yes.
Yeah, that was one I came. I don't even want to talk about that. That was just my big oops moment.
We all. You can look back at maybe the worst moment, but you don't have to, man. You won the game. You can focus on the best moment for now. And maybe when you're relaxed, go back and look at some of the things you could have improved on. But big win. And honestly, you made a lot of questionable decisions. A lot of people have weighed in. You had all these fast receivers. You made a change from the cover athlete to this new quarterback. But look what you've done with him. Really proud of what you've been able to do with this quarterback that you went and found to replace Josh Allen. And maybe we haven't seen the last playoff win from the Bills this year.
Maybe we're going for the ring, baby. We're going for the ring.
I love it. Well, thanks, Doc, for joining me in the booth. Thanks, Spit, for popping in for the interview. This has been some MKL playoffs and an exciting game. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope my potato was able to have a successful